Brett Mullins is the fullback. Albert Fullerby on the wing with Ken Nagus injured. Mal Meninga and Ruben Wiki the setters. Noah Nandruku back from winning for Fiji against France last week. Jason Croker is 5'8" in the place of Laurie Daly. Ricky Stewart halfback. Brad Clyde lock forward. David Furner and Brett Hetherington second rowers. John Lomax, Steve Walters, Quentin Pongia in the front row. Jason Croker on your screen. What a try-scoring phenomenon he is in whatever position you put him in. He just keeps coming down the centre of the field scoring tries.
A fantastic player, played in every position you can imagine. I think he's played in every position for the Raiders apart from hooker. So he's an absolutely outstanding utility player, and a player like that must be a chance for the Kangaroo Tour.
Cronulla on the field, Dave Watson fullback, Ian Crossan on the wing. Darren Higgins comes into the place of Andrew Eddinghausen. Jeff Bell the other centre, Richard Barnett on the wing. Mitch Healy 5'8", Paul Green half. The forwards, Dave Borton lock, Andrew Hick and Dan Staines second rowers. Les Davidson up front alongside Andrew Neve and Danny Lee. There's Andrew Neve. He's had a very successful first season in Sydney football. Graham Annesley is our referee today. Both teams intent on shoring up their position in the top 5. Very important game for both because there's plenty of teams clawing to get into 5th position. Here's Danny Lee now as he ran off the pass of Les Davidson. On the Cronulla 20. Now Staines, who missed quite a few games mid-season. He's stringing them together now, Dan Staines.
And hasn't been signed up by the Cronulla club as well for next season, Dan Staines. Believe they're waiting for Paul Soonen to give him an answer.
Good football by the Sharks. It was started by Andrew Hick, who spun and unloaded, and suddenly it shot across the back line to Bell. Now here's Lee over the halfway line. That's a confident start from Cronulla. Green with the boot in behind Fullerby, and it trickles into touch 15 metres out, and I think Cronulla would be very satisfied with that start to the game.
Yeah, that was a good set of 6 for Cronulla. There's Paul Green just stabbing that one into the side. A nice little kick. He's got all the skills, as you said, Warren, or as Debbie Spillane said, he's got all the skills, can kick as well. Interesting to see Cronulla got a deep back line. Canberra play a very compressed defensive line, and obviously Cronulla believe they can get around that by the looks of that first set of 6.
Stewart gives it to Fullerby, and he's just outside his own 20. Stewart goes into dummy half. There's Clyde back into the action, having recovered from a head knock suffered against Norths. We can check the record for and against for the season. You'll see the Canberra, the best attacking side in the competition. 405 points they've scored. Cronulla 280. Doesn't really compare to the overwhelming superiority in attack of Canberra, but in defence, both teams very even, both up among the best defenders in the competition. Stewart chased down by Green, had to change direction, got his kick away, and Watson eventually came forward, looked a little tentative at first. They're just wondering how the wind was going to affect it.
Have to be watched today, Dave Watson. Outstanding player, Kiwi international, played 18 tests for New Zealand, and a real headache for opposing teams because he's got that ability to unload the ball as well.
And Peter, a real New Zealand flavour today. We've got Watson, Crossan and Barnett. Of course, and we've got the front row from Canberra, Kiwi internationals, Lomax and Pongia.
Certainly is. We could get a few Shepherds today, you think.
Healy goes deep too. Watson, the man we're talking about, he slips away, pops it back inside to Healy.
Well, pretty reckless pass by Dave Watson. If I've got one criticism of him, he probably tends to push that pass. I suppose that's the English influence. He's played a lot of football in England, played for Halifax, played for Bradford Northern. And, of course, in England, I suppose mistakes aren't punished as much as they are here in the Winfield Cup.
We saw the Canberra intention to unload a moment ago. Brett Hetherington slipping on away. It didn't provide much of an advantage to his side. Now they go wide. Lomax to Meninga to Clyde, standing out among the centres. Pushes off a couple, back to Meninga. Now Nandruku up to halfway. Prepared to push it wide and found a bit of space out there with Clyde and Meninga working together. Now Furner powers up. Good work by Furner. Back go Cronulla. Last tackle coming up for Canberra. It's Stewart. Deft kick ahead, just placing it into the corner. Watson racing, here comes Nandruku. And it beats them all into touch. Neatly placed kick by Ricky Stewart. He knew exactly where he was aiming with that one.
Well, a fantastic kick by Ricky. Just pops it over the top there. Obviously kicking for Noah Nandruku. Here he comes, the big Fijian, but ball running into touch. Good kick by Canberra. Good start for them as well.
So it's Cronulla inside their own 20. I really felt that the inclusion of Dave Watson completed the look of this Canberra backline. We know that Green can attack from halfback, but really outside of that before, you really just looked at Eddinghausen. Suddenly there's two men there, Watson and Eddinghausen, who you'd have to watch. Unfortunately, Eddinghausen not there today.
Yeah, it's a shame today because Eddinghausen running off Dave Watson's short balls will be a fantastic treat for rugby league players, as we've seen the last couple of weeks as Cronulla beat Penrith last week, 36 points to nil, and Dave Watson and E.T. were both instrumental in that victory.
Andrew Neve kicks down to Mullins and he slips it away to Fullaby. Up to the halfway, here comes the cover. And a good tackle from behind there by Barnett. Two other players, including Danny Lee, were across in cover. Now that Canberra Raiders go wide, Stewart accelerates. On it goes to Clyde. Meninga, Nandruku still going. He's stuffed over the sideline by Crossan and Watson.
Play on. Nandruku got the ball back on the inside.
I thought he was out. Stewart. Lomax twists and he's away. Lomax for the line. Can't quite get there. Tackled low by Watson. Fell just short. Stewart. Dummies inside. Out now to Croker. Croker pops it on to Mullins. Mullins dangerous. Slips it somehow back inside to Fullaby. Great attacking football. Mullins keeping it alive when he looked like he would die with it. Hetherington. A little flat-footed. Indecisive. Last tackle coming up now. Cronulla short on the far side. Stewart. Clyde. Meninga. Nandruku leaves it behind. Meninga's got it back. There's a knock-on call now. That may have come from the touch judge, I'd say.
Well, he was pretty slow to pick that up. The referee, knock-on by now and Nandruku, as he made a run for the line. Cronulla come up with it. But great defence by Cronulla on that situation. On that occasion, they were stretched, certainly to the left-hand side. They scrambled well. And they're a surprising team, Cronulla. I think there's a lot of people in the rugby league world have been waiting for Cronulla for the bubble to burst, so to speak, but they've really hung in there this season, and it's a testament to Johnny Lang as the coach. He's kept their minds focused, and they've really come up with some good performances.
They move it across the paddock again to Barnett, but he's hit hard by Croker. Driving tackle.
Hey, Warren, I think that's part of their plan, Cronulla. Here's a turnover here. Unfortunately for Cronulla, but Cronulla have done well. They've taken the ball up, and Hicks got two tremendous offloads, and they've hit them with that second phase play to try and get away from this defensive Canberra. But here's Clyde. He's playing very wide today, Warren.
He is indeed, and he ran off Furness. Good pass there to go further upfield. Now it's Lomax cutting back into the forwards. They almost found a bit of space for himself too. Both teams very sharp early on, but Canberra getting on top. It's Hetherington. The pass comes back inside. They're just short, or has he gone over? He has gone over for the try. It's Steve Walters. Steve Walters backing up on the inside. Skidded across the ground. Referee said there was no double movement. His momentum carried him in for the first try of the match. Canberra lead 4 points to nil. Some tremendous attacking play in this set of 6 from them to move to this position. Look at the evasion here by big Brett Hetherington. Gets out of a couple of tackles and finds the support of Walters inside. Now he slides towards the line. That ball down on the line and a fair try.
Yeah, fantastic try to Canberra. Brett Hetherington, one of the unsung heroes of this Canberra Rd outfit, comes up with a good fend on Danny Lee. Another good fend here on Neve. Stevie Walters, like all good hookers do, backing up down the centre of the field, and his momentum takes him over the line.
Well, Hetherington has beaten 3 men here. He steps away from Staines, then he gets away from Lee and from Neve. I mean, 3 missed tackles by the Cronulla forwards.
Yeah, fine young player, and watch Stevie Walters hunting out this try. He's getting a bit bald, old Stevie Walters, isn't he? I've just had a look there. He's got a fair bit of skin on top, old box head.
You won't get your Christmas card from him this year. David Furner, 60% success this year, 44 from 73. I'd like him to knock a few more over. This is close to the posts. He adds the extras. Canberra turning it on early, lead 6 points to nil.
Yeah, Cronulla wouldn't be too happy with this effort. The fact that a forward can receive the ball first off the ruck and step inside. This is the ruck preceding it.
And but John, that came from a poor play the ball by Cronulla after the big tackle by Croker.
They made the mistake, but here they are working the ball wide. They're only about 25 metres out. Quick play the ball. Knock it up to the 20-metre line. And there's Hetherington just coming into the picture now. There he is there. just a market offence, didn't move forward. Danny Lee didn't come up with it, and I know how Steve Walter's got that ball patch. He keeps scoring tries, and they slap him on the top of the head. Good on you, son. Good effort.
And here goes Nandruku. Lomax fed it to him. Cross and bamboozled. Nandruku away from two more. Down to Watson he comes. Watson makes the tackle.
And Stevie Walter's looming up on the inside there. Noah Nandruku didn't have a look at all. Took on Watson and came up empty. Raiders on fire.
It's Croker wide. Meninga keeps it going to Mullins. They've got 2 against 3, and Wiki nearly makes it to the line. Again, Cronulla just managed to hold on. Now, touch judge quickly gives some information. Oh, it's a try. Oh, I thought he was short. Wasn't he short?
Good call, Warren.
I was sure he was short. Well, how in the hell has Ruben Wiki slid through here? Canberra 10, Cronulla 0. Cronulla devastated by the tremendous attack, first down the left wing, then down the right. And here it is from after the great break. Lomax put Nandruku away. And here it is, wide ball from Stewart. Croker, they had plenty of men here, but Cronulla also had the defence. Wiki inside. Now does he get it down here? He's reaching. Well, he must have got it down on the line.
He definitely got it down.
Watson disputes it. And referee Annesley on the touch judge report. Annesley also looked towards his in-goal judge. I don't know what he had to say.
Here's
this
a big
is the
break
original
by Noah
break.
Nandruku. Great ball by Johnny Lomax. Here he is, big Noah Nandruku. Top try scorer last season. Beats Ian Crossan easy. Now watch Stevie Walters. Big Stevie Walters backing up there. Didn't position himself too well, Steve. A little bit behind Noah Nandruku, but Nandruku did well. Held on to the football. Came up with a quick play of the ball. And Canberra score on the other side of the field. Tremendous backline, Canberra. Very dangerous, as Cronulla are finding out today.
David Furner. Difficult shot, this one. Couple of inches in from touch. Maybe a foot. Concentrating hard. And he's given it every chance. Coming around and just swings away a little too much. A fine start for Canberra. They are on fire. It's Canberra 10, Cronulla 0.
Yeah, promising play from the Canberra side, right from the kick-off, but there's the ball that probably did it, and this guy has got so much speed, Mullins. He can just come from behind and come around. That's his value, but there's the final pass. And Annesley probably just relied on the touch judge. That's giving him no responsibility whatsoever. Good effort by the referee.
But it was a very ordinary pass, wasn't it, from Borton?
Well, I think he got hit late, Warren. He was always prepared to make the pass, but just as he was about to execute it, he got hit in a good tackle by Wiki, which jarred the ball loose.
I just had the feeling he looked a little desperate to unload. Cronulla had gone into their shell more. They were just knocking it up one out. Now Walters. Furner was trying to position himself to take that pass. Only 15 out. Clyde goes himself.
The Canberra look like they basically can score at will here. Cronulla a bit short on the left-hand side. They go right.
Stewart cuts out one. Meninga, Croker, Mullins, and he's got his winger. And this time Barnett has managed to stop them.
Well,
Just managed. In fact, that's Nandruku who's come from the far wing.
That was obviously a planned move there by Canberra, but they just crowded themselves a little bit. They needed someone to straighten up. Noah Nandruku probably needed to come inside there. Brett Mullins gets rid of a pass. It's a pretty ordinary pass, Petey.
I agree, Peter, but Mullins has got tremendous pace. He comes from inside out so quickly that you've got to get the angle runner coming back on the inside. It would have worked well then.
I don't know whether Nandruku's in a bit of trouble. He's talking to the trainer. He's certainly come to this side of the field, and now Fulavai's on the left wing. Watson goes to dummy half, takes off, pops the pass to Borton. Borton, a successful pass this time to Watson. Staines. Moving the ball around now, the Sharks, not with the same impact as Canberra, but here goes a good run from Borton. Slips a lovely ball to Barnett. Ankle tap, it's still going. Down to Mullins, and Mullins makes a try saver. Quality defence from both fullbacks so far in this game. Watson saved 2 tries, now Mullins saves 1 himself.
Well, Brett Mullins, he was criticised last year in the semi-final series for his defence on, especially Mark Coyne, but what about that for a tackle? He just monstered Barnett over the sideline. Here's a better look at it. Big Mal comes up with an ankle tap that went a little bit wrong. Barnett tries to go on his outside, but Brett Mullins says, bit like World Championship Wrestling, get over that sideline, straight into the turnbuckle.
Lovely pass from Borton to put the winger Barnett away. So Dave Borton suddenly hits back with a couple of great passes after one that gave away possession.
He's a fantastic player, Dave Borton. There's not much of him, as you can see. Here's Stewart with a good break.
Now Stewart's up to halfway. Watson comes to him. Back inside the wicket. Crossan giving chase. Hauling him in. Can he get there? No! Great try by Canberra. Crossan couldn't catch him. And Ruben Wiki scores after the Ricky Stewart burst. 14 points to 0. Well, this is real trouble for Cronulla. They seem to be competitive in attack, but their defence is opening up to the delight of the Raiders, who are such a sharp attacking side. Here it is, Stewart holding up the pass, and he's away from Andrew Hicks, grabbing tackle. Downfield Stewart, who's done more running already in this 20 minutes than in the last month. Wiki, chased by Crossan. Crossan left it as late as he could. He couldn't have gone any further. He had to dive.
Well, there he is, Ricky Stewart. Perfect halfback play. Catch and pass, catch and pass, catch and pass. Then have a go yourself. And that's what he did, Ricky. Good ball inside to Ruben Wiki. He's a real quickie, this Ruben Wiki. He's signed for the Warriors next year, but I'll tell you what, the Raiders won't mind if he keeps scoring tries like that for the rest of the season. There we see Laurie Daly up. Look a bit cold there, Loz.
Now Ferner, right in front, where all kickers love to collect their points. Last kick from out wide went very close. And straight between the posts. It's Canberra 16, Cronulla facing a debacle, 0.
This was just a simple miss by Andrew Hick, but I think this we see it here. You see Mitch Healy gets up a little bit before Hick. Hick presumes the ball's going across field. Hick was slow out of the blocks in the defensive line. That just gave Ricky Stewart the opportunity to have a shot at the line. Hick wasn't prepared to tackle him because he wasn't moving forward, and then Ruben Wiki finished it right off.
It's a big game for Cronulla today. It must be disappointing to come out. Here we go, Brett Mullins again.
And he's beaten Higgins. He's beaten Davidson. Mullins down to the 30 now. He comes to Watson. And Nandruku charges for the corner. Crossan can't get him.
Another try.
Well, really turning into a debacle, isn't it? Crossan couldn't hang on as they charged for the wing, for the corner there. And it was Fulavai heading for the corner and made it, but only after Brett Mullins had beaten 2 tackles way back upfield. Look at this, Mullins on his own 20. First of all, he gets in between a couple of them, then he got away from Davidson. Downfield he comes, Watson thinking this is a nightmare, and then Crossan trying desperately to pull him back. He knew he had to somehow get him towards that touchline, but over in the corner.
Well, this is why this guy is the Australian fullback. Look at that for a beautiful run. He's a real athlete, Brett Mullins. In fact, it reminds me of you, Warren, when you were playing.
Oh, yeah, if only.
A great ball out to Fulavai, and Ian Crossan just couldn't get to him. And a great try to the Raiders. Their back line really on fire this afternoon. Well fed by Ricky Stewart. Mal Meninga's been involved, but Brett Mullins from the back is outstanding. Here we see what a great step off his left foot. He's got tremendous speed, Brett Mullins. One of the fastest blokes at the Raiders. In fact, Tim Sheen says he is probably the fastest player at the Raiders, which is a pretty good rap, considering you got guys like Nandruku and Ken Nagus in your side. Great try to the Raiders.
And Albert Fulavai, the 26-year-old from Tonga, scores the try, nicknamed Prince. Looks a little like him too.
I bet you wish he had as much money as him. He's not called Prince anymore, he's called the Symbol.
Now here's Ferner. He's getting plenty of goal kicking practice, but it's not close enough. Doesn't really matter at the moment. Canberra lead 20 points to 0. Didn't they let Brett Mullins escape?
And Warren, the chasers left early here on this kick. There they are, downfield, well positioned. It's just simple play by, well, not simple. You've got to have speed. Look at that.
Darren Higgins couldn't get to him
just
there.
got around Darren Higgins beautifully. Look at Crossan interfering with Fulavai, but Fulavai obviously listened to plenty of Vince Lombardi tapes and thought about the second effort, kept going and scored a try.
Well, it's demoralising for Cronulla, but it's very much inspirational for Canberra. As I said, Johnny Lomax, I believe, is probably as important a player for the Raiders in their semi-final charge this year as anybody. He's got to be there, and he's got to be a tough man. He's got to be a hard man up the front. He's got to take the ball up and whack some guys, and that's what he's done this afternoon. It's no surprise that the Raiders are so far in front. He's playing a good game, Johnny Lomax.
That was David Wesley coming on for Canberra.
And Lomax having a rest as we speak, and Watson Gets it out to Crossan. Prepared to take a little bit of a risk there, though there wasn't much to be gained inside their own 20. Crossan slipping. Bell. Just talking about that front row of Canberra's. Lomax obviously has one spot, but I still reckon there's a battle on for the other one with Hetherington. Pongia up there today. Pongia usually a second rower. Wesley has been there. Paul Osborne scored a try in reserve grade, but seems to be out of favour.
Well, he had a fine game in reserve grade, Paul Osborne. I think he is a key to the Canberra Raiders. I think Lomax, Walters and Osborne are probably the Raiders' best front row combination. There's a kick that went way out on the full.
Andrew Neve
landed in the grandstand.
Andrew Neve under a bit of pressure, miscuing badly.
It's one of those days for the Sharkies. Things aren't going right at all.
Look at the missed tackles by Cronulla. They're really being run off their feet. 14 missed tackles, Canberra only 3.
They'll just kill you, Canberra, if you miss that many tackles. I mean,
they make it happen, don't they?
They make you miss, but I mean, you just can't afford it. One-on-one misses against Canberra Raiders. It's try time. They got guys backing up. They got Walters coming up the middle. They got Clyde, he's everywhere, and they got Nandruku, Mullins, Meninga. You just can't afford to miss those one-on-one tackles.
Look at the metres going. Canberra 950 to Cronulla's 592, despite the fact possession's been reasonably evenly shared. Canberra doing a lot more with it and going a lot further. Leading 20 points to 0 after 30 minutes. And they're only 20 metres out yet again. Stewart passed 2 runners. Croker couldn't handle. Meninga throws it forward. Now that's a little bit frivolous. And I don't think Tim Sheens would be too impressed with that attack.
I don't think Big Mal will be too impressed with his pass here. Absolute speculator. He'll be dirty on himself for this, Mal. There'll be no doubting that. Great pick up by Croker. That was a good decision. Did go backwards. Watch this one for Big Mal. Oh, there you go. See how you go with that one, Croaks.
That's offering an intercept.
Oh, well, they can afford to give away a couple of tries. Make
Mind
it interesting.
The pass from Stewart, the 2 decoys, very nearly. He took the ball in, just let it float straight past their faces, out to Croker, who couldn't quite hang on to it. Of course, you're talking about the structure of the lineup for Canberra, 20-0 in favour of the Raiders. Once Daly comes back, all of a sudden you've got Croker loose, and where do you put him? Probably back in the second row.
Oh, for sure. I think Clyde, Ferner, Croker, Lomax, Osborne and Walters is probably, in my opinion, the Raiders' best pack. I mean, Tim Sheens might think differently. Well, he's the coach, he picks the team, but in my opinion, I think that's the best pack the Raiders can put on the field.
Now Bell's broken through here, running off Green, but there's plenty of defence still there. Now the pass goes to Crossan. He's got to get his support on side. They're not far out at all. Last pass goes on the ground from Robbie Kearns, and away goes Croker back upfield, so it all comes to nothing.
Well, desperation time from Cronulla, but Jason Croker, the man on the spot. He's everywhere today, Jason Croker.
Nice break by Jeff Bell. He has looked fairly dangerous. It was a good pass from Green, got him outside his man.
He's been impressive, Jeff Bell. He's made a couple of breaks today. Here we see him shifting the ball to the left, the Raiders. Bradley Clyde breaks another tackle. Oh, what a pass!
And away goes Fullerby. Fullerby streaking for the corner. Watson across, and he stopped another one. Third try saved by the fullback for Cronulla. But they're only a few metres out, and there it is now. In fact, every time Watson has saved a try, within a tackle or two, Canberra have gone on to score. So it's only been a temporary reprieve. Now it's Canberra 24-0 as Clyde shoves his way over the line, almost unopposed, really. Here it is, Clyde stepping in between them and over. No defence at home at all after the big break.
Here we see that. What a great ball from Bradley Clyde. He's got all the skills, Clyde. Great ball to Fullerby. He did well, Fullerby. He didn't try and throw a silly pass, didn't try and throw a speculator. There's Dave Watson. He deserves double pay today. A couple of the Cronulla forwards should hand their paycheck over to him. They probably won't get a paycheck today. There's Bradley Clyde on the ball, on the advantage line. Good try to the Raiders. Bradley Clyde set it up with that beautiful pass. He deserved that try. There's Fullerby. Shows a good clean pair of heels to Green. Dave Watson, a tremendous tackle. As I said, he's really been a guts effort today for the Cronulla Sharks. And you watch Bradley Clyde, he knew there was a try on. Hits it at pace. A big man like Bradley Clyde, 105 kilograms with a good sidestep. He's got good feet, Peardy, and he goes over for a great try.
Well, what do you think Dave Watson's going to be dreaming about tonight? There's going to be green jerseys coming his way all night long. Dave Ferner, 2 from 4 so far. No, and Andruku must feel cheated. He's been moved to the right wing, and all of a sudden they've started flying down the left wing. Fulavai scored 2 tries.
He's
or
filthy.
He's been on the way to 2. Got one of them. Here's Ferner. Deep breath, concentration. Oh, it's a shocker. That is a wobbly kick by Ferner. That won't inspire confidence. 24 points to 0.
Well, fairly ordinary defence has been Cronulla's story today. Just have a look at this. Watch Crossan come in a minute. This Crossan, he came in then and was ineffective in trying to lock Bradley Clyde up. Look at the pass there. Beautiful to put Fulavai away. Watson stops it, but then Crossan gets a dummy half. Now, his initial movement should be forward from here. He's got to go forward. See, he hangs. Too late. He could have knocked Clyde off. He'd have gone forward from the marker area then.
Play underway, and once again Canberra in possession, and Cronulla know that just because Canberra inside their own 20 doesn't mean that you can keep them there.
It's got to be a problem, Johnny P, coming from a coach's point of view. Cronulla, I've seen them play down at Caltex Field a few times. They've been absolutely outstanding. They've beaten some great teams down there, and last week they beat Penrith by 36 points to block. I mean, and then they come away on a road trip to Canberra today, and really their defence has been pretty ordinary.
Yeah, semi-final aspirants, I guess you call them, as Meninga goes clear.
Oh, lovely ball from Andruku. It's Watson again, and he stopped in, but there's Ricky Stewart. Oh, what a try. What, forward pass, call back. Call back the last pass. Signal forward by Graham Annesley.
Well, that's
what a genius piece of football, started by Croker and Meninga.
No try, forward pass. Let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this forward pass here. Let's see how we go. A flick pass. What about this for a pass from Big Mal? Oh, David Campese, eat your heart out. No one Andruki, you'd back him in here to score a try, but Dave Watson, once again, his defence is outstanding. He flicks one out to Ricky Stewart. I don't think that was forward. Try time. It was that good of football. You should have let it go, Graham Annesley. The game's over anyway. Let him go. Score a try. But as we look at the missed tackles now, 22 missed tackles to Cronulla. Unbelievable situation.
Davidson flicking it out the back to Healy. 22-7, the tackle's missed. Now it's Kearns. It's not as if Cronulla haven't been inside Canberra's half, but they're unable to go on with it from this position on the field.
Well, they're unable to sustain any pressure because they're coming up with loose balls.
Now that's a good pass from Lee to Neve, and the last pass again astray. Long can't keep it on the toe. Nandruku's got it. Away go Canberra. Mullins down to halfway. Too fast for Davidson. Here comes Watson. Nandruku, Crossan giving chase. One more pass. Back to Mullins. It's champagne football here from the Raiders. It's basketball. It's beautiful. It's Canberra at their best.
It's beautiful, Warren. It's wonderful. It's fantastic. It's beautiful.
It's 28-0. And that's all Tim Sheens and John Lang have to think about. Half-time siren, I think, just went, but look at this. Again, it was Cronulla on the attack with a chance. Last pass from Neve, intended for Healy. Long completely as an air swing. And from really, just broken play, away goes Nandruku, and look at Mullins go.
Oh, what a fantastic player. Les Davidson, see you later. Good ball. What about Noah Nandruku? He thought he was playing in the Hong Kong Sevens there with that beautiful over the park. That's the sort of football you pay money to come and see, Warren. I know you didn't pay, and I know I didn't pay, but I would pay to come and see football like that. There's Andrew Neve just pushing one out the back, a little bit over the shoulder of his Cronulla teammate. Nandruku put this try down to Big Noah. Great ball out to Mullins. He shows a clean pair of heels. Les Davidson says, touched. I think he touched him inside to Nandruku. Now, I thought Noah would have gone all the way himself here, but he just unselfishly pops it over to Mullins. A great try to the Raiders. And Ferner adds the extras.
So they've cracked 30 points in 40 minutes of football. A shell-shocked Cronulla creep towards the dressing room, but the fans are roaring. They're roaring in support of the Green Machine, and why not? They've scored 6 tries. Cronulla pointless. It's 30-0 at half-time. Back at Bruce Stadium, Cronulla will have an uphill task. We pick up play 3 minutes into the second half.
There's the stats, the top tacklers for Canberra. Hetherington coming up with 17, Lomax 14, Nathan Long 11, and Danny Lee once again leading the charge for Cronulla 21. And let's mention, talking about tacklers, let's mention Dave Watson, because I believe the score would probably be 40-0 if it wasn't for Dave Watson.
Now here's Croker. Now Croker might go all the way here. Crossan's coming from the far offside. Mullins is inside. Mullins is not going to be caught from there. Well, it just looks like more of the same. It's a feast of football here, and it's all coming from Canberra. And Brett Mullins streaking away. I thought that Jason Croker may have added to his tally of 15 tries for the season, but Crossan and a couple of teammates were just closing in on him, and Mullins positioned himself beautifully, and Tim Sheen still doesn't look too satisfied yet. He wants more of this. Croker just throwing a dummy, going straight across field. Nandruku was one inside, but Mullins was the better pick, and away he races. And doesn't he have some speed, Brett Mullins?
Well, fantastic. You watch Jason Croker, he drifts across field, but watch his decoy runners. There's one. There's another decoy runner. That puts the Cronulla in two minds, the defensive line in two minds. Geez, a fantastic player, this guy. If he hasn't got kangaroo tour written all over me, I'm not here. And Mullins, once again, that long striding fullback, the Australian fullback, a great try to the Raiders underneath the post. Here it is again. Now watch these decoy runners. Big Mal comes in, he sucks two in. Then Wiki sucks another couple in. That opens up the hole for Croker. I thought he might go all the way himself, Warren, but Mullins, hungry for a try, always sniffing. Great backup by the fullback.
Furner puts 2 more points on the board, and the embarrassment continues over at Cronulla. I'm sure they're starting to creep out of the lounge rooms. It's 36 points to 0 to the Raiders.
We've seen this many times today. A promising Cronulla Shark movement comes unstuck, and this team really makes you pay. But those decoy runners just pulled all Cronulla's defence to one side. And when you get pace like Mullins, it's just incredible. It's not fair that these blokes are born with so much speed.
You sound a little bit jealous, Johnny. You were one of the quickest players I ever saw.
They used to time me with a calendar.
It was relative motion. If you ran backwards as Johnny was running forwards, he looked really quick. There's the Brett Mullins fan club. They've had plenty to cheer about. Hetherington slips it back to Walters. Walters goes up the middle, and Long tackles him. Nathan Long, who came on as a replacement among the top 3 tacklers for his side, so he's doing his work. Somebody else is missing a lot.
Oh, here he goes again.
Now he might go all the way this time. Watson comes to him, and back inside. Guess who? Guess who it is?
It's touch football.
It's Brett Mullins. Ah, this is remarkable football, and really, Cronulla have to hang their heads in shame. No matter how good Canberra are, this defence is just paper thin. There are holes everywhere. Croker's done it again here. He's just dummied and gone through. Borton left behind, but he wasn't the only one who was in the culprit. And Mullins is becoming just like a training run for him.
Well, here we see now Jason Croker. Now Cronulla are a sliding defence. And Brett Mullins, here he is, backing up on the inside. Big Mal can't get there. He's getting a bit slower, the big fella, but Mullins is there. 3 tries in 6 minutes. What a 6 minutes. What a purple patch for Brett Mullins. Here we see again. Now the Cronulla players are just hanging off. They're not getting the guy with the football. Dave Borton comes up with a dive and a miss. And here he is. Watch Mullins scream into the screen there. Comes up with his 3rd try in 6 minutes. What a purple patch for the Brett Mullins boy. The man from Yass.
Can I just say that Tim Sheens looks like someone out of a menswear brochure today? I'm impressed. Don't you think that...
The man from Snowy River.
Oh, I just thought it looked like one of those Grace Brothers fashion lift-outs or something.
Very handsome.
Oh, you think so, Warren?
I just meant stylish, you know, the sort of the model look.
He is looking good, isn't he, Timmy Sheen? Don't know about the beard.
Now we're fashion consultants.
See, when the ball falls off the mound, the conversation can turn any direction.
Burner. And it's just, oh, talk about salt. It's the salt mines into the wounds of Cronulla. 42-0 now. The score mounts.
Yeah, this will just show the Cronulla defence. They're a little short there. Borton's got caught wide, but he's a back rower. He's a lock. He just gets beaten by pace by Croker. Mal just can't keep up. But look at Mullins looming up. And I don't know whether he's from Yass, but if you take the Y off, he's showing you plenty of what's left.
Oh,
and that's what Cronulla are seeing.
Oh, that was worth the wait.
And here come the Raiders again. Well, Paul Green has his pilot's licence. He might have jumped in his own Learjet and come down.
I bet you he wishes he could jump in one now.
20 metres out, and Canberra, it only seems a matter of time till they're in again. The dummies to Wiki from Stewart. That was better defence by Cronulla. Stewart goes across field, dummies to flick out the back to Hetherington now. Pass didn't reach Meninga. He was knocked over on suspicion. Now Nandruku's got it. Meninga runs to the blind side, back inside to Hetherington. He's upended. Out it comes to Nandruku, and Cronulla have come up with it. Nandruku losing the ball there in the tackle for no apparent reason. Borton with the ball. Attempted rake back by Walters. The penalty goes against him. Walters claims that he'd done everything right.
Well, probably not
really
standing square in front, Stevie Wild. He's asking the question. He's entitled to ask the question. Graham Annesley gave him an explanation as to why. Probably a little bit.
Jacko, I mean, we know how good the Canberra backline is, but a mate of mine was talking to Scott Gale recently. Scotty Gale, who played with Canberra, and he was saying, what moves did the Canberra backs have? And he said, well, we had 4 moves. The first one was to give it to Stewart. The second one was to give it to Daly. The third one was to give it to Meninga. And if we needed a fourth one, we just gave it to Belcher. I mean...
Or Brett Mullins now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
well, they're pretty good players, aren't they?
The natural talent of guys like this. So, yeah, I guess you don't need too much organisation. They just do it spontaneously.
Yeah, well, they do a lot of skills work, Cam. We see Cronulla trying to do something out on the right-hand side. They do a lot of skills work. I know Big Mal Meninga is very, very much a dedicated skills man. And as you can see, the angles they run. Here goes Green.
And he finds Bell inside. Bell had support, but he's found it on his right-hand side. And Cronulla have broken their duck. Andrew Neve, backing up down the centre, has scored the try. It's been a long, long time coming for the Sharks, but they're on the board. It's Canberra 42, Cronulla 4. It was started by the nippy little halfback, Paul Green. Shows the ball inside, cuts through, some sloppy defence from Croker. And Bell was there in support. Bell had some men on his left, on his right. He decided to go for his hooker up the middle.
Yeah, Paul Green holding the ball out in front of him. Just a little bit of a gap there between Croker and Wesley. And Neve goes over beside the post. Canberra wouldn't be happy with that. A good performance for Canberra now would be to keep Cronulla tryless. There he goes through that hole. Left by Wesley, not coming across in defence, and Andrew Neve backing up like all good hookers, taking a leaf out of Steve Walters' book. But Canberra wouldn't be happy with that. Big Mal Meninga probably laying down the law to his players now. No more tries, he'd be saying. They've got to come up with a good defensive effort in the second half, Canberra, to really ram home the difference between these two sides.
And Cronulla have just made a replacement. Staines has gone back on for Dave Borton.
It's taken 54 minutes for Cronulla to get on the board, and Ian Crossan delaying things, as he calls, for the sand boy to bring out the sand. And I think the Canberra crowd think, well, you're that far behind, who worries about the goals? Get on with it. Took a long time for the sand boy to hear the call. Brett Hetherington getting applause from the crowd.
John Lomax has just gone on for him, and I was watching Lomax warming up. They're actually doing ball handling work on the sideline just to warm him up. I presume it's to warm up the hands in this kind of weather, but you see players exercising a bit but not handling the ball.
And Crossan converts the try. So some relief for Cronulla, but a long, long way behind. 42 points to 6 to Canberra.
Yeah, Canberra's, even though they've been brilliant with the ball, they have had some defensive lapses today. This one, Wesley was just too slow. It wasn't Croker's man. Wesley just didn't slide quick enough. Inside ball to Bell. And, of course, the hooker, dummy half, Andrew Neve dives over. But there have been some defensive weaknesses in the Canberra play today.
The amazing thing is, when you hear of a team beating another team by 40, 50, even 60 points, and say the score is 60 points to 6, or 60 points to 0, even more so, the coaches say I was very happy with the defence today. I mean, they've scored 60 points. Seem happier if you keep the opposition tryless.
Well, there's one bloke in the Cronulla team that can't be faulted today on his effort, at least, and that's Danny Lee. He's come up with 28 tackles, incredible. 28 tackles in 55 minutes of football.
Yeah, I mean, he's known for his ability to cart the ball up to unload a few passes, but for a couple of seasons now, he's made more tackles than any other player in the competition.
And he's a big guy too. That's the surprising thing about it. Usually the big guys don't have the work rate, but He's an incredibly big fellow, and he comes up with the work rate as well.
Bell's chasing this kick through. He's got the bounce. There's support there too. Neve tries for another one. Goes to Green. It's play on. Paul Green for the line. He may be shorter. Is he over? He's over. Now, this will be interesting whether or not there was a double movement. They seem to make hard work of it. Paul Green looked like he chopped back into the defence rather than going away from it. But they have scored. And this is talk about a try fest. 42-10 now to Canberra. Neve pops a beautiful kick through, and Bell perfectly timed. The bounce pops up. Neve with the pass deflects. Now Green decides to come back in and try and catch them on the wrong foot. He's very, very close, but it looks like a fair try, and that's the way the referee read it.
Here we see Andrew Neve. Neve and Green have tried to spark this Cronulla side. The two former Eastern Suburbs players from Brisbane. Bell picks up a nice little kick. Neve's there. He's had a good game, Neve. He's tried hard. It comes off Ricky Stewart's hand. And Green just rolling over here to get the ball down. So Ricky really dragged him across the line with his tackle, but at that stage there was not much else he could do. Here we see it again. A nice little chip kick over the top. Well read by Neve. Bell's there on the fly. A good chase by him. Inside to Neve again. And Green's there as well.
All the talk has been of Neve and Bell joining from Brisbane, but in fact, Bell, I should say, the talk has been of Green and Neve, but Bell too came from Brisbane East. So he's finally making his mark. Crossan has landed it. Well, what have we got on the board now? Some 54 points have been scored in the game. Canberra have got most of them.
Yeah, look at Andrew Neve here. Does it very well, the chip, because he pulls the defence right up. Nandruka beaten there for pace by Bell. And inside, and of course, Neve's had a very good game. I like him. He's a former halfback, so he knows how to use the ball, knows when to run and kick. He did that very well.
Crossan throwing the ball back inside as he was nearly into touch, and Watson works it out to Neve, keeping it alive, but there's Meninga to bring an end to that. Slams Higgins, or Staines into the ground. Long, hit hard by Wesley, who dumps him a little more and almost incurs a penalty. Lee. Green. Healy over the top. Higgins. No, this isn't Higgins. Who is this out there?
That's Wrigley.
He swapped headgear and taken Higgins' headgear. Up the middle goes Kearns.
This is better control from the Cronulla side. This shows you a little bit more ball. You can put pressure on any side if you can maintain possession, look after the ball, keep it in good nick, and you can make some inroads. Here's Mullins again, feeds it off to the Prince.
And he's tackled by Staines, and Dan Staines is playing very wide at the moment in attack. Canberra have just gone off the boil a little. Haven't gone into their shell though. Here's Croker, 10 short of halfway.
I think Cronulla have picked their effort up a little bit, especially in defence. Stevie Wilder's going for a bit of jog up the middle of the field. But Cronulla's defensive effort has lifted a little bit in the last 5 or 10 minutes. A couple of tries, put a bit of pep back into their step, but here they are now, they're short.
Meninga keeps it going to Mullins. He streaks away from Green. Has support on both sides, and here's a try to Croker. So he's got his one for the match. And it's tremendous support play. We're just saying that the Cronulla defensive effort had improved. They seem to have Canberra contained, and all of a sudden they break loose. Started by a great offload here by Lomax. Canberra didn't seem to be getting those passes away as much, but then they suddenly go wide. Lovely ball from Meninga, and the sheer speed of Mullins turns that half chance into a real opportunity. Lovely ball back inside. Even though there was some scrambling defence, it wasn't enough to stop Croker.
Here Johnny Lomax sucks a few Cronulla defenders in here. Ricky Stewart now. Good ball here by Croker. Big Mal, another big ball. Meninga to Mullins, Meninga to Mullins. You'll get sick of hearing that over the next couple of years. Don't worry about that. And there's Croker in underneath the post. He set up a couple for Mullins, and Mullins returns the favour.
Mal Meninga's hands and short passes have been just superb in the past month. Sometimes they've dominated his ability to run the ball, but his passing is so perfect. His timing excellent.
See David Ferner just about to move in and take this kick. Just about throw this over from here. You could probably kick this one, Petey.
I reckon Debbie could kick it.
Of course she could. There it is. Straight
and
through the
flags
post.
Are up. So Canberra's dominance now reasserted after Cronulla had hit back with 2 tries. It's 48-12.
look at this skill from, there's just a second man play there, but look at the Cronulla defence. They're all drawn in. There's definitely overs here. All it took was a couple of good hands, especially that one from Mal. That's when the speed takes over, unselfishly, inside the croaker. Another speed man. But good skill by Lomax. I mean, that's what should be mandatory for all front rowers to look to improve their skills.
Here's Healy now as the ball comes back from Hick. Long, nowhere to go, runs into trouble. 15 out. Neve gives it to Lee on the gallop. Galloping indeed for the line. Defence just closed in time. Good burst. Only a few metres out. The Sharks looking for their third try. Back inside comes Watson, flicks it back to Hick. Hick given some room to move. Last tackle coming up now. Green chips it, it came off Pongia, back to Long. They've got 6 more. I didn't think Canberra played at that. Annesley's given Cronulla another 6. Kearns not far out. He's played it forward, lost it anyway, and Canberra have got the ball. And they shovel it almost behind their line. Croker lost it. Who's got it? Canberra have retrieved it to force a scrub.
And Jacko, I got an answer for you on that. Yes, it is Ricky Stewart taking over captaincy with Meninga on the sideline, and also check Meninga isn't going back on.
This was the incident where Robbie Kearns played it forward, almost could have drawn a penalty there, lost it anyway, and lost ball out here, brought it all undone on the first tackle.
Showing great confidence. Here we go, the Sharkies back on the attack.
Healy, they need to get it to this side. Green knows it, he's done it. Out it comes to Wrigley, and he's brought down 9 metres out by Appo. Bell. Uncertainty there, though. Wasn't too sure what he was supposed to be doing with it. Hitting it up or throwing it wide. Neve works the plays to Hick. Man-on-man tackle affected there by Walters. Now it's Green. Healy. Back to Green. Watson is dangerous. Where's he going to go? Knocked over eventually by Bradley Clyde. We haven't seen that much of in the second half. Punch from Watson. He and Walters are into it. Play goes on with Neve and Healy. Healy's still there. The touch judge is in. Punch is still being thrown.
Oh, Clyde, what are you doing?
Oh, they're all into it. Well and truly. Walters is still going at it with Neve, I think it is, or Watson. With Watson. That's where it started. Steve Walters and Dave Watson.
Well, he's caught one. Stevie Walters on the goink.
Yes.
Dave Watson gets up. He throws one at Steve Walters, and he didn't appreciate that, Steve.
It was an open-hander from Walters too.
And Bradley Clyde, now in comes someone here.
Hick.
Now Clyde, Hick comes in. Now he wants Clyde to give him a few. Whack, 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 push, push. It's on. Bradley Clyde, he's a pacifist, Clyde. I've never seen him throw a punch before in his life. But he's in the dominant position, Peter. He's on top.
He's enjoying it.
There's no business of Hick coming in to have anything to do with that. It was one-on-one. And that's what the rugby league officials don't like seeing. They don't want to see one-on-ones escalate into all-ins.
Yeah, well, probably, you know, in saying that, Bradley Clyde is probably no cleaner player. Look at Cronulla way up inside the 10 metres there. Cronulla must have been 3 metres back from the play of the ball then.
Well, not surprisingly, Annesley's moving in over the ruck. He's worried that tempers are going to flare again. Wants to keep a close eye on the contact. Here's Furner, good run. Ran into Neve, he forced him back inside.
Well, after that little stoush, I hope the players shake hands and make up after the game. We saw last night a pretty unsavoury incident between a couple of the players in the game.
Bit of tough stuff going in now. I think it's Nathan Long, and it's on again. Well, this is dragging down what's been a tremendous display of football. This time, I think it's Robbie Kearns in there, and it could be John Lomax. But I don't know that they were the ones who started it.
Johnny Lang not impressed with his players in this situation. And this is, well, you're right, Warren, it's dragging down. There's Stevie Walters, he's got a bloodied face again.
He's in the blood bin.
It's dragging down what would be a good game of football. Big Mal Meninga's not out there to try.
Nathan Long has been sent to the sin bin for 10 minutes. And it's pretty stupid football from him. He had to know that the referee was just waiting to crack down. on anyone who was going to start the stupid stuff again. Now Lomax is in as well. Both touch judges telling the referee exactly what they saw. A long booed to the dressing room by the Canberra fans. Lomax is going to join him.
And Canberra have sent on Jason Deeth in 22 to replace Steve Walters. They had him warming up anyway.
Well, I'll tell you what, losing a little bit of control.
Watch for blonde-headed Nathan Long to start this. A bit of a high tackle there from Lee. There's Long comes in. Now what happens from here? Hick over the top. Still just a wrestling match to this point. Oh, well, I don't...
Well,
you could see Lomax was holding Long and Long started to swing them. I think that's what's happened. So it's Ferner from 30 metres out right in front of the posts. He's kicked 6 goals. 9 tries and 6 goals in the Canberra tally.
9 tries, unbelievable.
This to bring up 50. Son of Don Ferner, the Australian chairman of selectors. And that's straight between the sticks. Well, the Canberra fans have had plenty to cheer about. 50 points to 12. We've seen some big scores this year, haven't we?
Canberra bringing off their try-scoring wizard, Brett Mullins. That's who number 17, Kenworthy, is coming on for.
He's had a fantastic game too, Brett Mullins. You see Ruben Wiki going for a bit of a run down the centre of the park.
A weak defence by Cronulla. There's a missed tackle by Watson. Now it's Appo. Oh, lovely ball to Deeth. Has Deeth got the pace? There's no one else there to help him out. Crossan manages to get to him. Stops him 5 metres out. Now, from one side to the other, it's got to go. Stewart knows it. Is he going to pass or kick? He passes to Croker, to Clyde, and Clyde will romp over. He didn't place the ball down, but he does now. Tried to improve the position. Put it down to that great run initially by Wiki, who burst through some very feeble defence by Cronulla. Back down his own 20. And Tim Sheens, there he is, the man from Snowy River, up again. It's 54 to 12, and Clyde scoring, but all the hard work was done inside. He just had to finish it off. Look at this great burst here. Wiki, who misses him here? Well, I think it might have been, I won't even name him. Someone slipped. Poor attempt that time by Watson. Wiki, beautiful offload. Appo was there in support. Now, Jason Deeth didn't quite have the speed from 30 metres out. Crossan was the only one who could get to him, though. Not a bad effort for the little hooker, showing that he's learned from Steve Walters' ability to back up the break down the centre. Now, Stewart took plenty of time to sum it up. He dragged some defence into him, kept them there, kept them wondering, and quick ball on from Croker to Clyde. It shows he's always thinking, didn't force it immediately.
Here we see Wiki's break. Now, this is a great ball inside. You watch this ball from Appo, former Tugan Seahawk up there on the Gold Coast. It's a long way from the Gold Coast here this afternoon. Now, Deeth, he thought he was going to score a try. He's a bit worried. He tries to duck underneath Crossan's tackle, and Ricky Stewart sums up the situation perfectly here. And Ricky Stewart threw a great long ball. Bradley Clyde backing up as per usual. David Ferner attempting to kick his 8th goal from the sideline. Can he kick it? I'll stick with me on this one, Warren, as he's having a deep breath. Moving in. He strikes it pretty good. It looks pretty good. It's over!
Well, the magic charm, you can get him to knock him over from out wide. 56 to 12. What a thrashing. Canberra all the way.
Yeah, this is the play after that good run by Deeth. But look at Ricky Stewart. All the time in the world, he sums it up. A Cronulla player came off the line. You just saw him out of the screen. Then Croker just fed it on. But just all the time in the world, Ricky Stewart picked his selective pass.
Jacko, I still want to know, why are Canberra such a different side today to what we saw against Norths 2 weeks ago? I know the opposition's different. You've got to give credit to Norths on that occasion.
Well, it's hard to put your finger on. You're probably better off asking Johnny Peart. He's a coach. I'm just a player.
The countdown to the last seconds, but there's still a chance to get 60 points. They're going to have to go a long way. Ferner, 10 short of halfway. Now it's Croker. There's plenty of men there. The pass is allowed to go on. It's Mullins to Appo. Appo's still going. 60 points on offer. Great tackle. Great tackle by Dave Watson. Oh, fitting performance by him on the death knell there. Dave Watson, take a bow. For Cronulla, he deserves plenty of credit today. It would have been 60 points for Canberra if Appo could have gone all the way there, and he was only a metre short. Instead, It's still a commanding performance by the Canberra Raiders, and they have defeated Cronulla by 56 points to 12.